dropping facts all day. Anthony's like, nah, I got the better parlay. Argue about the spread, it's a fierce debate. But when it comes to Wildcats, they align their fate. Blitz the bookies where the knowledge reigns. Charlie and Anthony bring the heat like flames. Talking parlays, breaking down the games. Kentucky Wildcats, they beat the same drums.
All right, welcome back to another episode of the Blitz the Bookie podcast. I'm Charlie Winkle, joined as always by Anthony Roberts. It is Wednesday, February the 26th, and we are about a week and a half away from the end of the college basketball season. And about as quick as I got into a football depression after the Super Bowl, I now find myself all in college basketball. I've watched a ton of games the last few weeks, really trying to dig in, try to figure out who's who, what's what. I've always been a huge March Madness fan.
Best tournament in sports.
Yep, conference championship weekend is always fun. Of course, the NCAA tournament. I've always loved March Madness. And as a Kentucky fan, these last few Marches have been a little rough. So personally, I am psyched about March Madness. Even next week, being the last week of the regular season, there's going to be a lot of teams playing for stuff. You're going to be playing, maybe you're on the bubble for the NCAA tournament. Maybe you're playing for seeding in your conference tournament. A bye in your conference tournament is big.
No doubt.
SEC this year is stacked. You get a top 8 seed, you avoid playing on Wednesday. And that's big. So Kentucky right now, I think, is sitting in maybe like that 8 spot. So teams like that are going to be playing for conference seeding, and there's a lot of teams that are going to be thinking they're on the bubble, maybe first couple teams in, first couple teams out. So even that last week, I think next week is going to be fun. But then conference championship weekend, I love it. Even at the beginning of the week when you get the smaller conferences start out theirs on Mondays and Tuesdays, and then by Wednesday or Thursday, you got like at least 1 or 2 championship games every night. And then, of course, Selection Sunday, March Madness, it's awesome. I love every bit of it, so I can't wait.
No Clark Kellogg this year. It's kind of
He's going to be missing something.
No doubt.
That's the voice that you've always heard. He's the one that opens it up. He's the
Miss Clark Kellogg. I miss Dickie V. Like Dickie V or not, I miss him.
He called the Kentucky game the other night.
Yeah, but it's not the same. I appreciate what he's doing, and I think it's awesome. But look, like him or not, he brought something to college basketball. I think college basketball needs it a little bit right now. I wish there was another big personality that would get involved. I know college football has, what's his name? Do you think he'll ever call games, Charlie?
Who's that?
The big personality that's doing all the shows now, the kicker, big hair.
Pat McAfee?
You think he'll ever call games?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I think he's doing pretty good at what he's doing now.
Yeah.
He's found his little stick. He's the guy on the college game day.
Yeah, no doubt.
He's the new.
People like him. He's he's good energy. I don't mind him. He's not my favorite. I'm a Herb Street guy, but at the same time, I can appreciate it.
I was glad to see Dickie V back, man. I really was. Just to hear his voice. I know he sounds a little different. He sounds a little rough, but I mean, he's getting older and he's been battling a lot of stuff. So just for him to be back is pretty amazing. To be honest,
I never understood. And I mean, everybody has their own right. As we're just talking here, having our own opinions about sports. I never understood some people just said they hated Dick Vitale. And maybe they didn't like his voice or his energy, but like we talked about and touched on before on the show, he truly was one of the first announcers that really did their homework. This was pre-internet or pre-internet popularity. He would do his homework. It was a lot harder to do your homework back then. And I always appreciated that. So many of the announcers had no idea where they went to high school or just different little things information of what easy to get back in the day. And I always appreciated that. I always appreciated his energy in the games. You might not like that high level of energy, but you can say one thing. He did bring energy to the event.
Always good to have Dickie V back. I just liked hearing his voice, man. I know he sounds a little different now, but just glad to have him back. So Kentucky did lose to Alabama without 2 of our starters. Not making any excuses, but it's tough to beat Alabama at all this year. And without your 2 top guards, starting guards, it's going to be even tougher. So
We got to have them. We got to have them. I've seen it. We've got to have them from on the ball defense to just getting into our offense. We got to have them.
Well, it's what time is it, Anthony? Right at 9 o'clock, 9:15. Kentucky game looks like it started now.
5-4.
5-4 hasn't come on yet. This Vandy and Texas A&M game is taking forever to end. It looks like A&M's about to go down.
They are, but they're fighting back. They were down by a decent amount. They've closed this gap right here.
But yeah, Kentucky loses to Alabama. Look, I don't think it was a huge blemish. Alabama's a top team. It was in Alabama. They're scoring like 90-something points a game.
I was scared of that game.
Tough to keep up. Tough to keep up, especially, like I said, missing some key guys. Sounds like they were both probable tonight. There's a chance Butler and Robinson both might play. So
yep, I think they're must-haves for us. At least Butler is. I think Robinson kind of is too. But Butler's our point guard on the ball defense. If we don't have him, then we have to have Robinson. But I really think Butler's the key to what we need right now. I'm not even saying he's just the key to our team, but we just don't have another one of him.
He is kind of the key to our team. He's kind of the glue.
Yeah.
I guess you could say Amari Williams, the way he's been playing, but
on the ball defense,
Butler's the key to the team. He's the glue that holds it all together. Sometimes you got those teams where when you lose a guy, sometimes you can lose a guy. Be okay. Sometimes you lose the wrong guy, and you really see how valuable that guy is to your team. And I think Butler's one of those.
Yeah, I think he gives you that guy that can defend. I just don't think we have a lot of high-level on-the-ball defenders.
He's definitely the best on-ball defender.
Yeah, we got some guys.
But he controls the game, too.
We can score.
He scores a little bit, too. Yeah, we need them. And hopefully they are back and at full strength, but it does worry me. We got 2 weeks left. This game tonight against Oklahoma, I'm not saying it's a must-win at all, but I do think this is one that we kind of need. We play Auburn, probably not expected to beat Auburn. We're at Missouri, which is a really good team right now. Probably going to be underdogs in both of those games. And then we got LSU at home. Should win that one. This game here, I don't want to say it's a must-win because it's not, but I really do think we need it. But the fact that those guys are coming back does worry me a little bit. Should they sit out another week?
Get them right. But you know what? I'd read, Charlie, that they'd kind of been borderline already ready to come back. So I think they might have been waiting on them kind of to get back. Well,
I hope you're right, because the last thing I would want to happen is both of them to play tonight and one of them get re-injured.
No doubt.
If they got to sit out 2 more games or, another week just to make sure to be safe that they are ready to go 100%, I wouldn't even mind it.
It's not even worth it at this point. I'd like to get a game or two in them before the tournament, but
yeah, that's why I said, at least maybe sit out these next 2 games and then come back next week for the last 2 games. Because you're right, you don't want to just throw them out there in the tournament.
Yep.
But it does worry me a little bit. I hope they're back because I want them both to be back. I want our team to be at full strength, but not with the chance of them re-injuring something that maybe they trying to come back at 70 or 80%. But look, these coaches and the trainers and the doctors, I'm sure they know way better than we do. So hopefully they've got the right plan, and hopefully it goes all right for Kentucky. I wish this game would get over so we can actually see the Kentucky game, see if they are playing.
We did see the end of the Michigan State-Maryland game just a second ago. Michigan State beat Maryland at Maryland with the last second through about a 3/4 of the court shot.
Bastards.
You don't see a lot of those. It was tied 55-55. Maryland took a 3. Like most coaches coach it with a couple of seconds to go. Give yourself a chance for a rebound. They did everything right. Of course, Michigan State rebounds it. Has about 2 seconds left. Gets about 3/4 of the way. Maybe a pinch past 3/4. Throws one up.
Probably about, from the top of the key on the other side of the court? Somewhere right around there.
Threw it up and got it.
Right in, too. Nothing but net.
That was a top 25 matchup night. That was a big road win for Michigan State.
It was. Maryland's looking good. I'm telling you, Maryland is a sleeper team. I gave away some sleeper teams last week, and I still like them. Wisconsin, St. John's, Maryland. I still like them.
Maryland's always been good in college basketball. I remember what was that coach's name they
Gary
had?
Williams.
Gary
Williams was a really good coach.
No, they were good.
He had Maryland at the top of their game.
Who's that big boy? They had the good guards and they had the big boy. What was his name? He was good, really athletic, like a power forward type. and they had the white boy guard. What was his name?
Steve Blake.
Steve Blake, and they had Steve Francis. Did he play for him?
Steve Francis, yeah.
I thought he did.
Yes,
yeah.
he did.
Yep, Steve Francis played for him. And
the
then,
big boy you're talking about, I can picture him in my head. I know who he is.
He was good. He was a good college player, anyways. Was it Will? Was it Will? I don't know.
I want to say his last name.
Did they win 2 in a row, or they just win
Dude,
one?
I can picture that guy. They had 2 big guys. One of them was like a really super athletic big guy, and they had another one that was more of a chubbier guy. And man, I can think of this guy. I can picture him in my head right now. I think his last name starts with a B. Brian, I can't think of what it is, but yeah, they had a good team back then.
They did.
Their second big guy had dreads, or he had like long hair or dreads. He ended up in the NBA.
Steve Blake, Ryan Randall, Lonnie Baxter.
Lonnie Baxter.
Yeah.
I knew it started with a B. Lonnie Baxter. They had another guy, though.
See, none of them guys are ringing a bell to me. Taj Holden.
No, they had another big guy that was really good that year. Or he ended up being good. I think he was one of
the Wilcox. That's him.
There you
That's
go.
it. I think
Yeah,
it was Wilcox. Yeah.
What was his first name?
Chris Wilcox.
Chris Wilcox.
He was good,
yeah,
man.
There you go.
I remember him being really athletic, big guy. That's back when the game was one down low a lot. The guy was just a really athletic enforcer type down there.
They had a good team back then. It was almost like when Gary Williams left, though. It was almost like he was Maryland basketball, because their basketball program went to the shit.
I miss that type of basketball, man. I miss the physical, I just do. They're missing something in today's college basketball, dude. They're missing something. I don't know what it is. Look, it's still fun. It's a great product. I'm watching it, having a good time with it. They need to bring a little bit of physicality back, or I don't know how they do it. It's going to be a rule change that does it, because that's how you get things, or the way you call a game, but I don't know.
I don't think it's missing anything.
I got you.
That's just my personal opinion. I think it is what it is. I think it's still the same. When it comes down to the games on the court, I think pretty much everything's going to stay the same. You're still going to see the upsets. You're still going to have the buzzer beaters. You're still going to have the excitement of March Madness. I love it. Maybe it is a little less physical overall.
Maybe that's what I miss about basketball. I don't know what it is. There's something to me where it ain't. I don't know. I remember I used to live on every play. Maybe it's me getting older. I don't know. But I live on every play. I remember getting physical and players mouthing to each other a little bit, and just, I don't know.
All right, we'll get into a little bit more college basketball here in a bit. Anthony, I had some random stories I wanted to talk about. There's a lot of stuff. Yeah, actually, I was surprised this week as the week went on. I kept, I'd hear something or see a story, and I'd write it down, and next thing you know, I got like 15 things written down to talk about on a week where I figured there wouldn't be a lot of stuff to talk about. But I do want to – I wish you would have got a chance to hear this and listen to this. The Steve Smith.
You explained it to me. I felt like I had a good –
Steve Smith, Senior, from the Ravens, from the Panthers.
He was a pretty good player.
He was a real good player. I'd say he's a Hall of Famer, wouldn't you?
No.
No?
I think he's really good, though.
I say Steve Smith's a Hall of Famer. He's probably coming pretty close to being at that 5 years. He's probably been retired, maybe 3 or 4? I'd say he's coming up on that 5 years.
If he is a Hall of Famer, he's not first ballot.
I like him. I had to look at his numbers, but just off the top of my head, I do think Steve Smith is a Hall of Famer. I could be proven wrong by the numbers maybe, but.
And I very well could be wrong, too. That's my guess.
Well, anyway, Steve Smith had a rough Saturday, Anthony.
Yep.
He had a rough Saturday. Some dude on Saturday morning starts a random Twitter account, posts his first post ever, tags all kinds of people, tags Antonio Brown. If you know anything about Antonio Brown right now and what he's doing with his life, you know what he does with his life now? He just fucks with people on the internet.
Yeah.
Oh, he dogs everybody. He says some crazy shit about whoever. So this guy tags Antonio Brown, which I thought was the best tag of the whole thing, because you wanted to get out, tag him. And you got to understand, this guy just started a Twitter account, so he has 0 followers. I mean, he has 0 credibility, right? You would think when you just start an account, you don't have any followers. People might look at your account to see, who is this guy? Zero followers.
But if you got big time content like he had this week, it don't take long for it to spread.
Well, that's why you give it to Antonio Brown. He got it out real quick.
That's right.
But I don't think anybody even thought it was fake. I didn't see anybody questioning whether it was real or fake.
Sometimes you just got look. If it was fake, Steve Smith would have been out on it saying it was fake.
He didn't deny it at all.
No, he's on damage control with his wife.
I don't know if he's got a wife. Is he married?
I just read he was.
He's married?
Married to his college sweetheart.
Oh, man. I didn't even know that side.
Yeah.
So this guy tweets, first message ever. Don't quote me on word for word here, but it's pretty much basically, hey, Steve Smith is fucking my wife. She works for the Ravens. I forgot what they call them. It's their band, the Ravens marching band.
Right.
Apparently that's how they met. But yeah, puts it right out there. She's been cheating on me. It's been happening for a while, and I got receipts, and I'm gonna show you the receipts. And he just proceeds to post message after message showing their text messages.
Do you think he tried to blackmail him first, or said, "No, I just came out with the energy"?
It seems like the guy was. I guess he was just in his. You think
You think he asked him for $500,000 first, or do you think he just went public with it?
I think he just went public with it.
Yeah, I get it. With your wife, yeah, I could get that.
It was either one of the things where he was just in shock and was just acting off of
pure shock. Might have lost it.
Or it was one of them things where he was maybe a realist and was like, "Look, it sucks. My marriage is over, but on the way out,
your marriage is over too.
I'm putting them all on blast."
Yeah.
He tagged the Ravens. He tagged the Panthers. He tagged like TaylorMade Golf. I don't know why. Maybe Steve Smith has some kind of endorsement deal with them.
He's probably sitting here thinking, dude, you have everything in life. You try to take what I had in life that I've had to work for, that I've built. You ain't just going to keep having everything. There's going to be a black cloud over you. I don't blame the guy one bit. I'm not saying it'd be my style, and maybe it would be. I don't know. But, here's a guy, all these pro athletes, man. They're so blessed to be doing what they do. And look, good for them. I'm not saying it's not whatever, but good for them. But then you get all that. It's like your world's almost perfect. And I know nobody's life's perfect, but then you want to ruin another man's life? It's one thing if you don't know. But when you know.
Oh, he knew.
Yeah.
He knew.
That's different, dude. It's a lot different.
So he not only puts all their text messages out, and they are brutal. Anthony.
Yeah, that's what you were telling.
Brutal. Look, I'm not scared.
It's a PG show.
Yeah, look, this isn't really a PG show. I mean, y'all have heard us drop some bombs on here before.
Bullets after hours.
But yeah, this conversation, I'm not gonna read these texts just in case. I do have a son that sometimes listens to this, so for that fact, I'm not gonna put it out there all the way. Maybe we will do like some just special episode one day and just release all the stuff we can't say on the normal episodes. But I do want to say one of the texts that he sent that I thought was absolutely hilarious. So Charlie or any other kids, if you're listening right now, just turn it off. Skip about 30 seconds or 1 minute. He talks about how she talks about how he's going so deep and he's getting it in. She says that she thinks that he rearranged her IUD or UID or DUI or whatever that thing is, the birth control. She said you rearranged it. She's giving Steve a lot of props. Dude.
He's lucky the guy didn't kill him. I mean, didn't something like it happen to Steve McNair? Or something, I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe it's
that is. Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, you think this is bad, bud. What about this guy just showed up and took a baseball bat to your head or shot you? You got to be careful messing with people's wives and families, and it's a lot to lose, man. And even if the guy, is a clear thinking person, sometimes you just go in shock.
Well, he also called him.
Yeah.
No, he called him.
I don't blame the guy, dude. He ruined his life. Try to ruin everything. It's still not going to ruin his life, but you know what? It might make his life hard for the first time in his life. Not saying he ain't had a hard life, but those guys live a pretty nice life. So good for him.
The phone call is how you know that Steve Smith knew.
Yeah.
Because there is a chance that she could have been hiding that she was married from Steve Smith. But the guy calls him. Steve Smith answers the phone, and he straight up says, "Hey, Steve, you've been fucking my wife. What do you got to say for yourself?"
That was his old shit moment.
And he pauses for about 2 seconds, and Steve Smith says, just like this, same tone, same everything. He just says, "I'm sorry."
A lot goes through your head in 2 seconds. He's probably thinking, "Oh shit, this is getting my wife." Like it's damage control. Like, oh shit,
Well,
my
you're
life's
right.
over.
You're
like,
right, because I didn't know that he was married. So that is a whole nother layer to the story that hasn't really came out or anything. But I wouldn't be surprised if that'd be a follow-up if Steve Smith's wife starts jabbering her mouth. Who knows these days? People like to put all their business out.
She's going to get half, maybe more.
She is. Oh, she's getting more. If he cheated, I mean, she can get all she can get. Man, what a Saturday for Steve Smith, and I hate it for that guy.
I don't know why you.
God.
I don't know why you would risk all that.
You can't hide anything these days either.
Just go to the massage parlor like everybody else in the NFL.
Yeah, get with Deshaun Watson
Or Tucker or
you
any
know,
of them.
you know you can't hide anything. It's gonna come out. She was not covering her tracks.
Dude, it's hard to cover your tracks this day and age. You got stuff on your phone that tracks you. We always know where our kids are. Like there's apps on your cars, cell phones.
Well, she's probably losing her job.
Yep.
She works for the Ravens.
Here's the real question. Do NFL teams still got marching bands?
The Ravens do.
That's pretty cool.
I'm
old school. I like that.
The Ravens might be one of the only few
marching bands.
They do. I forgot what they call themselves something, but yeah, they do. They have some kind of band. I don't know if they're at every game or how they operate.
Did you know NFL teams still had marching bands?
Just the Ravens. Just the Ravens.
I'm not even a Ravens fan. That's kind of old school. You know, I like college for all the bands, so that's I like the bands.
Well, yeah, sure. Everybody's probably getting fired. I don't know who's maybe Steve Smith might not.
You know, on a side note, you know what's sad about the whole Ravens deal with me? They got a marching band. They got one of the Harbaugh brothers. They've always been a physical defensive team. If they just get rid of Lamar, I could become a fan.
Send him to the Bengals.
They get a lot of trade for him.
Straight
up
for
trade.
Burrow.
Son, Baltimore would go to the Super Bowl.
You'd be a Ravens fan, wouldn't you?
I follow players.
All right, while we're on the drama, there was some more drama. This actually happened last week. I wanted to talk about this last week, and I think this happened over Super Bowl weekend, I believe, is when all that stuff happened. OchoCinco and James Harrison.
Yeah.
You saw some of it, right?
I'm 50-50. It's fake. But you told me I watched it, and I'm 50-50. But I do think there's a 50%.
You watched it after I talked to you?
I watched a few little clips of it, yes.
Did you?
Yeah. It was wild. At first, like you said, I don't feel like Harrison was taking him serious. And then he, you know.
I'm going to tell you the reason I don't think it's fake. And if y'all don't know what happened, Ocho, I don't know if it was on. Was it on their podcast? Was Shannon there? I don't think Shannon.
No, Shannon Sharp was there.
Was he there when it happened?
Yeah, he was there. Yeah,
He
was in the middle moderating
Yeah,
because
okay.
even Shannon said, "You don't want to."
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, he was sitting there. So it might have been during their podcast, but OchoCinco was pretty much calling out James Harrison, pretty much telling me whoop his ass. Chad OchoCinco Johnson probably weighs 10 more pounds than I do, and James Harrison is like a Greek god, the way he's built. It got chippy in there, dude. And look, this is the reason I don't think it's fake, because I've listened to plenty of Shannon and OchoCinco's podcasts. I think he's got a pretty good podcast. OchoCinco is actually the one that I like. He is very entertaining. But they've had guests on before, and he always calls them out.
Right.
I don't care if it's a sprinter in the Olympics. He'll tell him he can beat him in a race.
Sure.
I don't care if it's a cornerback in the NFL. He's telling him he can still beat him. UFC fighter, he's telling him he can whoop his ass. And here's the thing: the way he plays it, it'll be an interview, and the guest will be on for a 30-minute interview, and he'll play it all the way through, and he'll be telling him the whole time, "I'll whoop your ass in the octagon. I'll whoop your ass." You can kind of tell he's joking. But at the end, you almost expect him to say, "Nah, I'm just messing with you, man." Right. He never does. He never backs down. But it never gets, like, serious.
Mm-hmm.
It never gets really, really heated. That James Harrison stuff, and we know I'm sure they've got history.
Sure,
we could probably go back and look.
Yeah.
There's probably some history between them two. Bengals, Steelers. It didn't seem fake to me. It didn't. And I saw a little interview of James Harrison, I think a day or two later, of him talking about it and kind of reacting to it, and it didn't seem fake. Of course, it could be, but
I'm 50-50, but I'm still 50% it could be real. So for me, so 50% is still decent for the internet this day and age.
Chad Johnson get his ass whooped.
And
I'm not all about its size is everything, because it is absolutely not. But James Harrison would destroy him.
I'm not saying you're wrong, because I would definitely put my money on Harrison. But somebody like him, Chad Johnson, he's athletic.
No,
he's tall.
I get it.
He's probably pretty strong, dude, even for like whatever. He's athletic. The guy might have a big time punch on him. I'm with you. Harrison gets a hold of him.
He plays it too.
Yeah.
I'm an athlete. You don't know me. I'm an athlete.
Well, I mean, some guys, when we're judging boxers on TV or fighters, they're both trained fighters. I've seen really big people that are just not that great at fighters. Now, I'm sure Harrison's a decent plays sports. I'm sure he's at least good at grappling, at least good at wrestling.
If he got a hold of him, it's 100% over if he gets a hold of him.
But dude, I've seen people in my life, and not even that athletic, that I've seen them have what I call a knockout punch. Somebody just got a big punch. Yeah, if he gets a hold of him, it's game over.
Game over.
Yeah, game over.
No, I get it. Size is not everything.
It's a lotto.
And I've seen little guys knock out big guys. I've seen it happen.
But both these guys are athletes, though. So
they are.
And a lot of times when I've seen that, one guy's kind of an athlete or a fighter, another one, he's a big guy, but when you really watch him, he's not that coordinated. James Harrison's coordinated.
Well, if they're faking this to set up some kind of celebrity match, it'll have to be set up because James Harrison will fuck him up.
Yeah.
And a little added layer to this story, which I had no clue about until like 2 days ago. I run across this video from Cameron, the rapper from like the 90s. He actually has a podcast now with Mace, who was the rapper from the 90s turned preacher man, back to rap. Now he's a podcaster. They actually have a pretty good podcast too. But I see Cameron, and y'all go look this up. I'd like to play the bit, but it's about 2 to 3 minutes. Cameron does not like OchoCinco at all. And he let it be known big time. 2 to 3 minute rant he goes on. Starts off very calm. Just saying, I never really messed with Chad OchoCinco Johnson. He claims that when they started their podcast a few years back, OchoCinco called Cameron out for some reason out of the blue, and he continues to tell this story and just gets madder and madder and madder over the 2 to 3 minutes, and by the end of it, he is just pretty much saying, fuck him, he's a bitch, and every other thing that you could think of. Pretty good little rant he went on. So if y'all haven't heard about the Cameron rant on OchoCinco, go check it out. That would be a much better matchup in a ring. Cameron and OchoCinco, I'd love to see that matchup. I don't know how big Cameron is. He's probably a little guy. He'd probably get his ass whooped in this one, but he might be a gangster. I don't know. He's a rapper. I don't know if he's a real true gangster, but I'd like to see that one. And if I know OchoCinco, he will be responding to this shit because Cameron goes in on him hard.
Yeah, no doubt. I think it'd be interesting to see how that follows through, and it would be fun to see a fight. It's just I'm so wary of everything on the internet now. Besides everything at Blitz the Bookie, I am. I just am. Do you feel that way with the internet sometimes? That you're like, I'm always wondering if it's like a skit or everybody's trying to get popular with their different ways of doing it, and I'm always wondering that. But man, Charlie, you're with the pop culture of the NFL, man. You got all the good news. We're gonna.
I like it. It's the off season right now.
I get it. No, yeah, it is.
We could sit here and pound college basketball.
No, it is. I like it. I like it.
I think people like to hear about OchoCinco talking shit to one of the biggest, baddest motherfuckers that's ever played football, and now getting called out by a rapper. I need to see something, dude. I need some action. Whether it's make it a 3-way match. Well, Cameron don't want no part of that either. He's not no dummy. But I'm telling you, go listen to Cameron talk shit on HATES, and I will be watching. Probably it might already happened, but I'm gonna catch up on their podcast, and I want to see if he responds, because if he got as mad as he was when he went off on James Harrison, when he hears Cameron talking shit. Cameron a lot smaller than James Harrison, so I promise you he's going to come back, and who knows, we might see that as some kind of celebrity match. I would love to see that.
They would love to probably make some money off that.
Mace sat there the whole time, didn't say a word, just smiling. You know Mace, he's just smiling.
Yeah. He's probably got a lot of stuff going on with the Puff Daddy thing. They're probably doing a lot of, I don't know. That was a long time ago with I don't even know a lot about that.
Hey,
so
I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that. Let's transition right into my next little thing I seen.
Oh, man, this guy.
Puff Daddy, one of his lawyers quit on him. Straight up said, I cannot be a part of this anymore, and didn't give any reasons. Didn't try to say, oh, you know, I got family issues or whatever. Just said I can't do it anymore.
It's probably just bad public for. I mean, it's just probably bad public. I know you said he represented Osama bin Laden. But at the end of the day, they just knew he was kind of a defender, a public defender, whatever you want to call it. Maybe not public defender, but, when you start defending somebody that's done that weird stuff, and you just don't want your name out there like that.
Well, he defended Osama bin Laden. He did a lot of weird stuff too.
Yeah.
Killed a lot of people. And this guy decided, I'd defend him. But when it comes to P. Diddy, I got to get away from that. I draw the line at P. Diddy.
Probably seen all that evidence.
I guarantee.
Dude,
guaranteed. He said, of course, he said all the right stuff. He's a lawyer. He's no dummy, but he said, can't disclose anything, against the case or whatever. But
I can't believe P. Diddy didn't run.
He's in a bad spot, dude.
He's done.
He is done.
I don't think that people would be talking crap, because I feel like people were kind of scared of him. That lets you know that he was kind of crazy, because once it was kind of final that he was done, that's when people start coming out of the weeds. They were scared of that guy. I think that guy had a lot of power.
He did. And I heard the Epstein list is going to get released. Did you hear that?
No, I did not.
Yeah, well, this P. Diddy thing, I think, is just like that, dude. I think there's a lot of people that weren't just victim to what he was doing. I think there's a lot of people that were doing it with him. But it's going to come out.
But does that make somebody get killed? Or like whoever's going to come out with the list, does that make?
Maybe.
When there's a lot of important people, we've seen it in politics. When there's a lot of important people, they're not all going down, Charlie.
They could easily disappear real quick.
They're not. They don't even care how bad it looks, because their life's over at that point. They got to take that risk.
I agree. Watch out. Watch your back, because they'll make you disappear real quick.
Yeah, and just for the record, Blitz the Bookie does not have an opinion on this either way. I mean, we're just. I already know what happens, Charlie. I already know what happens. But,
Diddy's going down.
Yeah.
Diddy's going down.
Charlie has all the good you've been hanging out. My wife watching that she watches all those little TV shows and stuff.
I don't watch none of that shit.
Yeah. Well, we got the sports version of that, man. That's good stuff. It's the off season for football, so to get a little football news is good.
I'd argue that people probably want to hear about that dumb shit that we just talked about for the last 5 or 10 minutes than they would about whatever other stuff we're going to talk about here. I'm serious, as sad as that is, and I don't know what that says about our country, but I promise you, people love to talk about drama.
My wife and daughter does.
They love to talk the drama.
Now, I like a train wreck. I like Amish Mafia, something I know it's like totally fake, but I just love watching them, like Honey Boo Boo. Don't even. I'm not. Look, dude, I'm gonna tell you. So I don't even like.
Lizard lick towing.
Yes, love Lizard. Yes,
do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
I would not mind going back and watching Lizard lick. It's
dude,
probably the dumbest shit.
The whole time I'm watching it, like Amish Mafia, the guy comes in. He's supposedly the enforcer. He's a midget with like a assault rifle, and he whoops everybody's ass.
I've never seen
that. But anyhow, I know it's all fake. I know it's all scripted, but I can, I can just play pretend for a minute. I know it's just a train wreck. Everybody loves a train wreck. Well, at least I do. I guess that's why my wife likes what I call trash TV, where they just go around talking about everybody like that. So
speaking of trash TV, I don't have this on my list, but you made me think of it. So there's a documentary that just came out about a month ago on the Jerry Springer Show.
Okay.
It's on Netflix, I think.
Yep.
And I watched it. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Actually, it's an okay documentary, but it's about Jerry Springer, so it's pretty interesting. The one thing that I found out in the documentary that was the most surprising thing out of everything,
It didn't start off fake?
the stories weren't really fake. They were real stories.
Yeah, but they were probably like,
But the dark side of it was they like tapped into like people's problems and they pushed their buttons and they got them backstage and they literally like pissed them off on purpose and hyped them up about whatever was going on. And then they push them out on stage, dude.
I do feel like that there was a time when it went from just being a kind of a wild talk show to being a really wild talk show. I could deal with that.
They go
and
through
then
that-
it got
all that.
stupid. Then it got stupid.
They go through that whole thing.
I don't think that was, at that point, that got
Go watch the documentary.
I will.
Go
I
watch
will.
it.
That'd be interesting.
It is kind of hard to believe, but I'm telling you, the people that like it was like directors and the people behind the scenes were kind of doing the documentary.
Were they redoing
They were
skits, or were these the real people? Like sometimes what they'll say is this is based off true stories, but actors.
They said none of the stories were fake. They said
I know the stories weren't, but were the people that were talking about it, were they actors or were they?
No, they were the real people.
Okay.
But they said they would get them in there. What they would do was they would act like they were going to come on a show to solve their problems. But then when they got there, they'd get them backstage and they would tap into their problems, dude. And they'd start talking about them and they'd get the people all pissed off and get them all hyped up.
Right.
And then they'd push them out on stage. And then they said shit would just pop off. There was a double murder suicide from a lady. It was like a threesome going on, or not a threesome. It was like the guy was cheating on his wife. And they were on the show. And like a month later or something, it's like a double murder suicide or something from the people that were on the show. There is a dark side to it, and look, I'm not saying that I totally believe that none of it was fake, but I'm telling you, you watch the whole video, you watch the whole documentary, it was multiple people and they could have easily said it was all set up, it was all made up. I don't know why they wouldn't have said it they straight up said, like, these stories were real. The people were real. We just had to, sometimes we had to get them to the point where they were ready to.
Well, they did that on like a lot of them shows I watched. They say a lot of them are based on true stories. Now, I don't know if that's how they were done there, but they were based on true stories. They were just kind of twisted really hard. But yeah, that'd be interesting because I enjoyed Jerry Springer as a teenager.
It was
yeah,
wild.
that was
and
good
they
stuff.
do talk about like the stages where how they kind of started.
It didn't even start off like that bad.
It didn't. He's kind of started the show like a regular kind of.
He probably his ratings probably kept
wasn't
going up
regular,
and up
but-
and up and up and up. It's good stuff.
Dude, he passed Oprah there for a little bit.
Yeah, no
As the
doubt.
number one talk show, which
Jerry.
was crazy back.
That was big TV back in the day.
R.I.P. Jerry Springer. And everybody that knows Jerry Springer says he is not at all like that. He was a politician and stuff.
Yeah.
You know that, right?
Yeah.
From, I think, Cincinnati.
Different people will surprise you. They say, John Cena, the wrestler, the
Yeah.
one that raps, talks mad shit.
Yeah.
They say, dude, like in real life, it's like a big gentleman, like good manners, very polite.
That's how he seems. Anytime you see him now, that's how he is. He's got his hair combed sideways. And he's all proper, and he's kind of going through the stage The Rock went through there, where he was doing like kid movies. And
Well, they say one time his buddies was out, and they said this person was interviewing him, and they said, yeah. He says, they said, well, you get it, all these women. You're this superstar wrestler. Nice guy. And he says, yeah, but he says, I'm a nice guy. He says, somebody comes up to, and so I think it was Howard Stern asked him, have you ever been with a bigger girl? He said, yeah. He said, my buddies, they told me that I wouldn't do it. And he said, I did. He said, I enjoyed it. And it was a good time. She was a nice girl.
I think I've
no,
heard that.
like, no, he said,
I think I've heard that.
Dude, he
clip.
was like, I liked he didn't respect her name. He said, we had a good time that night. It was good stuff. And so.
Can't see me.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Just some of them guys, dude, they act like they're better than everybody. So good for him if he's kind of a decent guy behind the scenes. So
R.I.P. Jerry Springer and John Cena. You're a stand-up guy, buddy.
that's right. Took one for the
You're
team.
a stand-up guy. All right, that's all the
Talk
drama I got.
yep.
That's all the
some stuff in
bullshit I got.
sport. Looks like that.
Before we go to football, real quick, Four Nations. I know you didn't watch it. I texted you like 3 times asking if you was watching. You didn't respond, so I'm sure you weren't. It was electric. It was awesome.
I
It went
wasn't.
into
I
overtime.
watched a little bit of it. I did. I watched a little bit of
Went
it.
into overtime. It was everything that we wanted it to be, except we lost.
Yep.
Lost in overtime, but I'm telling you, dude, international hockey is awesome, and it got me pumped up for the NHL. I'm ready for some playoff hockey.
Playoff
And the Capitals are doing their thing. Ovechkin just broke another record the other day. I think he scored like his 2 millionth goal or some
Charlie,
shit.
we all want to see the fight.
Well, get those in the regular season because they don't fight in the playoffs. But man, hockey is as intense of a sport as you're going to watch. The guys cannot take a playoff. They cannot take a playoff. And I saw. Did you watch the video I sent you about the PK Subban? He's a NHL player. But I sent you the video of him talking about comparing them with the NBA. Did you watch that?
Nope, I didn't.
He pretty much said he pretty much called him out for load management
Yeah.
and taking plays off.
Sure. Look, I understand.
Really called him out and pretty much said, look, the mindset in hockey, the lifestyle, the culture that we've built is totally different from the NBA, and he's 100% right.
But the thing about it is, we touched on this before. The people in yesteryears built the NBA to what it is, and maybe if the NBA was just thriving, but it's starting to struggle. Help them out, dude. That's my part. You could argue the other part with me if you were a player, and maybe I could see your point. Maybe I would argue it another way, but when a league is just giving you such a great life, man, and now that it's struggling a little bit and you can't help it out, I don't like that part of it. Everybody's done their part. You need to do your part too to build it for the next generation. That's what it's all about. But dude, I don't care. Listen, I love sports. I love everything about sports, pro, college. That money ruins them, man. It ruins them.
So give me all the playoff hockey. I'm ready for it. Hopefully the Capitals make a good run this year. Ovechkin's getting a little old, but he's still out there doing it.
I will have to learn hockey teams and players if we start talking about hockey.
Yeah, you need to pick one. You need to pick a team. Just
Blades of Steel. Blades of Steel.
I got it right. I got it right over there.
Blades of Steel.
I'm gonna tell you one game that does not hold up. Blades of Steel does not hold up.
No,
dude, it's hard to play. It's
Okay.
not. I tried to play it a couple weeks ago. It's hard as shit.
Did you pick the Americans or the Russians? Who'd you pick?
No. I don't even think you can pick the Americans and Russians.
I don't
in
know.
that.
I forget.
No, it's got the NHL teams.
Do you remember the game? Blades of Steel, I don't think was that way. But which game was it where you could pick the skinny guys, the thicker guys?
That was just called hockey.
Yeah.
That was just called ice hockey.
Yeah.
That one was good.
Did you have more speed or did you have more thick guys or did you have a mix?
Got to mix it up.
Got to mix it up.
Gotta mix it
The
up.
thick guys
That was
put
a
you on
good-
your ass, but they couldn't move that fast.
I'd like to get that one because I remember it being good, but I remember Blades of Steel being good too. And I'm telling you, Blades of Steel does not hold up. That game sucks.
Yeah.
That game sucks. I still play RBI baseball, and it's still good. Even
Have
though
you
it's
played Double
not
Dribble?
Really good.
Double Dribble.
Yeah, see, Double Dribble. What I never really liked.
It's old school.
It's a lot.
It's even old school Nintendo years.
Yeah, I didn't think Double Dribble was ever that good.
Well, I
of a
mean,
game.
then they came out with NBA Jam, and there was a. I told you about that one game I played. That it was like a playground game. I wish I could remember. They had like a girl on it. It was good stuff.
All right, so we're gonna talk some sports, or no?
Yeah,
We just gonna fuck around. Here?
Yeah, we can talk some sports. So a few little headlines throughout the NFL. The Bengals tag T. Higgins. That'll be fun to watch this year. We were listening to a guy earlier, Charlie, and he says just a good business move by the Bengals. So that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. It sounded like this guy's saying that was the best thing for them to do if they were going to trade him. I couldn't see the Bengals doing it and going through. Look, I don't blame T. Higgins. I don't blame the Bengals, but there definitely, I think, was something where T. Higgins didn't play all the time when he was healthy. He might blame the Bengals. Bengals might say, fair game, but whatever it is, I couldn't see them tagging him going through another year of that. I think he'll be on the trading blocks to see what they can get out of him. So that'd be interesting to see.
Breaking news today.
What's that?
The NFL is going to what they are calling the Hawkeye virtual measurement.
I've seen that. Blitz the bookie called for that.
Boom, baby.
Yes, we're ahead of the
People
game.
been talking about this I know I've heard people talking about it for 3-4 years, maybe even longer. Blitz the bookie talks about it for a couple weeks, and bam, they changed the rule.
No doubt.
So we're taking a little bit of credit for that, but long time coming.
The only people that could fight it would be the refs union. and I'm sure they're going to try to fight it. So I just don't know how much leverage they got there in that situation. Well, I mean, if you're a union, you're gonna fight that. So I'm not saying
they did say they will still have the chain crew on the sideline. Just I guess
it might be good for the
visual.
officials, though. It might be good for the officials.
They act like they're just going to use it for first downs, but we all know they're going to use it whenever they need to use it.
Right? No doubt.
They just are. They're going to use it whenever they need to use it. They'll use it. So I think it's great. I think it's a no-brainer that should have happened a long time ago.
I just hope I hope it don't kill jobs, but I do like it. There's a lot of money in the NFL.
Kill jobs.
Well, I'm just saying,
couple chain crew guys.
Yeah, I'm just saying, say it was a come in and it took an official out of it or something like that. I don't like anything that kills jobs. Man.
Look, it would kill 3 chain crew guys, but they said they're still going to use them. So I guess it's a visual thing, maybe for the cameras to still be able to see the chains over there on the sideline, which is good. I do kind of like to be able to see them, even though they got the yellow line.
The players need to be able to see that too.
Yeah, the player. Yeah,
because
right.
They can't see that yellow line. I think I forget that sometimes too. Like, get your line, dude. You already passed it.
Yeah, the player. You're right about that. The players definitely need the sticks. Oh shit, he just blocked that into the third row. Kentucky is a minute until halftime, and it's a 1-point game at Oklahoma. I knew it'd be tough. I haven't even been watching, Anthony. Is Butler and Robinson playing?
I have not paid attention. I've been watching, but really not paying attention.
They're not in right now. I don't see either one of them. I wouldn't be mad if neither one of them's even playing.
It wouldn't bother me. Yeah. It wouldn't bother me. Let's get them healthy. Talking about on the NFL deal, they are also talking about trying to get it where overtime, it's not going to be about who wins the coin toss. They're going to go to that kind of that playoff rule to where both teams get a chance at that point. Something like that. So, yeah.
So, I mean, it's only if the team that gets it first scores.
Yeah, but I think even if they score, I think they're
still going to give them
which I think is the right rule. I think it's the right rule change. I don't like it being decided on a coin flip. I know you're going to say, well, then play defense, but I just think both teams should get one chance.
Yeah,
I'm going to tell you,
I agree.
I'll be honest with you. A lot of times the NFL's ahead on a lot of things. I don't maybe like what they've done here recently. I don't know if I do or don't. I like college football's overtime rule.
I do too.
Yeah, give them both a chance inside of whatever it is, the 25, 30, whatever it is. I like it.
Except when they go to 3 overtimes and now they're just going for 2 every time. Yeah. That is stupid.
Well, I guess they were just trying to find a way to make it quicker.
Go to the 10-yard line and give them 4 plays.
Yeah. I guess
instead of the 25 and being able to get first downs, 25, that means you can get 2 first downs.
Yeah.
So ultimately you could run 12 plays.
Yeah.
Just give it to them from the 10-yard line, and there's no first downs. You got 4 chances.
I think they, try to fix something that wasn't broke there. So
yeah, that the 2-point thing sucks. I don't like that at all, especially if you got a -3 or something. You definitely don't.
I think I lost on one. I lost on 1-on-1. That Auburn game. Remember that game?
Shit's stupid.
Yeah, it's stupid. That's interesting. Of course, you're hearing all the. It seems like everybody's waiting on what Stafford's going to do.
Everybody's waiting on Stafford
because that's the domino effect.
All right, let's go ahead. Make a guess. Who do you think he's gonna? What do you think he's gonna do? Make a guess.
I'd love to see him stay with the Rams, man, but he's wanting a big deal, and I just don't know if the Rams want to pay him long term. My guess is going to be the Rams or the Giants.
I think the Giants are going at him real hard, dude.
I think the Giants are as far off as we think they are. They just didn't have a quarterback at all. So I don't even mind him there. But, man, the Rams were really good. I know y'all hear me say it, but they were really the only team to give Philly a game. They were good, man. Their defense, I heard you say they had the cheapest defense in the league.
Saw that. By $20 million.
And they're really good. They're young. Really good. They got a lot of guys. They just hit on all their draft picks. They got a lot. They're close, guys. Puka, they got a good offensive line. Dude, I think they were really close this year. I really do.
They were really close.
Yeah, they do. Stafford is 5-2 in playoff games.
And they lost in the damn snow. They had to play in the snow and still almost won
and had back-to-back fumbles. Back-to-back fumbles. And that, it's their own fault, but I'm just saying there's excuses there.
I'm going to lean towards Stafford ends up with the Giants only because I think the Giants are so desperate. You mentioned it last week. They are on pretty much a 1-year contract. And they're not on a 1-year contract, but their owner straight up said, which he should have never made this comment, but he said, we are bringing Dayball and whatever the GM's name is back for 1 more year.
They're both on a 1-year contract. I think that makes a big difference.
You could say that sentence. You got to leave those last 4 words out.
Because if
for 1 more year.
Because if the GM wasn't on a 1-year contract, then the GM might say, "Hey, man, you're not going to mortgage our future for this." But with the GM and the coach in the same situation, they're all in.
Yeah, you know what that means when we say we're bringing you back for 1 more year? You know what that means, right?
You better win.
You better win.
Yeah.
You better win. So I think the Giants are going to make a big run to try to get Stafford.
I think they're going to win. I think the Giants are going to win. I think they were slightly getting better at the end of the year, and they just didn't have a quarterback. They just didn't have a quarterback.
The Giants.
Yeah.
I'm a yin yang. I'm a little yin yang here with the Giants. I liked them a lot in Week 16 when they got a big win for me in that elimination pool, and then I turned around and they cost me the next week. But I do think that the Giants have a good young team. They have some young pieces.
Neighbors is good.
And maybe Stafford comes in there and, Neighbors is begging for Stafford.
I bet. Why wouldn't you?
Begging for Stafford right now.
They got rid of his Daniel Jones. You got to get somebody to replace Daniel Jones.
But here's my thing. I'm kind of with you. I would like to just see Stafford stay with the Rams.
Right.
But if he doesn't, I'd like to see him in Pittsburgh, a little selfishly because I kind of like Pittsburgh. But I don't think he would succeed in Pittsburgh because I don't think Stafford is a cold weather quarterback. And guess what? The Giants, you're playing outside in the cold. So I don't think it sets up well for either of those teams. I'd rather see him at Pittsburgh. But I'm kind of with you. I'd rather just see him stay with the Rams. But, man, the more and more I see, more and more I hear on that, it does not look like it's trending towards him staying.
Well, I think they got a really young defense that's really good. They hit on some draft picks. But, man, almost at that point.
They say they got a really good relationship, though. Like the Rams, McVay, and Stafford,
But here's the thing, though. You got your defense on the cheap. That's awesome. That's what the NFL is about nowadays, Charlie. It's not about having the best players. It's about having the best players on the best contracts. I've heard that New England won't give up a 4th pick for T. Higgins. He's worth that. He's a young receiver. He's a good number round. No, their number 4 overall pick for T. Higgins. But T. Higgins is a high-level player. I mean, are you going to get another player?
Dude, I've said it on this show that I think T. Higgins is maybe like a top 5 receiver in the league.
So, I mean, you're not going to get that. But the problem is he's due his big contract. So it's all about not just are you good, but are you good with that contract you're going to have? And so for they're saying he ain't worth a 4th pick, where you get
so you said they're franchising him?
Yeah, but it sounds like they're going to trade him. They're doing that. It's complicated with all that the NFL trading stuff. But with the Rams, they got their defense, and they got all these young guys on the cheap. So they're going to have a window here for the next 2 or 3 years before these guys come up for contract. Why wouldn't you want a really good veteran quarterback and pay him? Where else do you want to spend your money? I know, okay, but say where else are you going to spend your money at? You know, say you did get a Rodgers or something. You're going to get him cheaper than you get a Stafford. What are they trying to do with that money? I know they're trying to free up Cup. Where are they trying to? Their offensive line's good. They got Puka. They got a young running back, Kyron Williams. Where are they trying to spend the money at? That'd be interesting to see.
I don't know. Maybe offensive line.
Their offensive line's pretty good too.
Could always get better on offensive line. I don't know exactly where their offensive line stacks
I don't either.
But
it's good. It really is a good offensive line.
If Stafford leaves, they're going to get Rodgers. Yeah. And I'm going to make a statement. I'm going to make a bold statement right here that's probably not a popular opinion right about now, I would say. I think it's a good time to buy Rodgers.
I get it.
You know what I think about him? I called him out last week. I don't like all the extra shit. I don't like that he doesn't come to practice. I don't like that he's only won 1 Super Bowl. I don't like none of that. I don't like how his attitude's been the last few years. Don't like how the Jets lost a lot of games. He didn't play bad the second half of the year last year. He didn't play bad.
They were starting to come on, dude.
But I'm going to say right now, Aaron Rodgers is going to have a good year this year, as long as he doesn't go to the Raiders. If he ends up at the Rams, watch out. I think Rodgers has a breakout year, and I don't think the Rams miss a beat.
And I like it. You know, he's from California. It's definitely a spot where he can go and win. They can get him on the cheap. Why, they're trying to find their next quarterback.
They're already established team, got a good team.
The only thing that scares me not scares me, but just don't make sense. I know McVay's offense McVay likes a lot of pre-snap motion. He likes a lot of movement to get things to happen. Things I've always heard on Rodgers from people and different reads is that Rodgers does not like a lot of pre-snap motion. But that's the new NFL. He needs to get with the times.
He'd have never been able to come play for Mike McDaniel then.
Yeah.
He'd have never been able to. He does that about 85% of the time.
Well, that's what they're doing in the NFL now. They're trying to figure out what you're running, and they're trying to get into the right play. That's the new formula. It is what it is. I think a lot of those older quarterbacks, they don't want all that pre-snap motion, and they want to be able to read the defense and be able to change it themselves. And I think the coaches almost want control with all the pre-snap motion, So I think that's kind of how it works.
I think McVay would do whatever if he got Rodgers, I think he'd build the offense around Rodgers.
But why?
If they pick up Aaron Rodgers, he's not going to do anything that's going to make Rodgers feel uncomfortable about the offense. He's going to try to make it cater to whatever Rodgers wants to do, I would say. If it's something like you said that Aaron Rodgers truly doesn't like a lot of the shifting and pre-snap motions, maybe they cut down on it. I think McVay would do that.
I think they're a good enough team where they don't got to. Like, if you needed him really bad, but you got Sam Darnold out there. He's a California boy. I don't think he's Aaron Rodgers. A little younger than Aaron Rodgers. Might get him on the not cheap, but get him cheaper.
He's played way better than Aaron Rodgers the last couple of years, or at least this year.
Yeah.
But I'll say it right now. If I'm the Rams, I'm taking Rodgers all day over. Just like I said, I think Rodgers is a good buy low spot. I think right now, dude, Darnold stock can't be any higher.
Well, he lost some of it at the end of the year.
Yeah,
he lost. They say he lost some money at the end, but he's still a lot higher than what he was. But
he was about to be thrown to the wolves and a career backup or out of the league.
Yep.
He was trending in that direction.
Could the Rams get Mac Jones?
I doubt that.
I'm hoping.
Do you think it's interesting where Darnold's going to end up, though? I have not heard a ton of chatter about Darnold and where he's going to end up. Maybe it's just because they're waiting for the whole Stafford, maybe Rodgers thing to kind of fall in place. But you do still have Darnold, and you got Kirk Cousins that looks like that's going to be moving too. So
it sounds like the Rams, but look, they like Stafford. They got a good relationship. The only reason they want to get rid of it, they don't even want to get rid of him. But in their mind, I remember this with when Gruden was out in L.A. with, I think it was Khalil Mack, but they just don't want that much money into a quarterback. And I'm not saying they're right or wrong. Maybe they're looking towards their future and being able to sign these defensive guys when their contracts do come up. Look, I don't think I'd want all that money into one player. It depends what you got and what you got in place, because you got to play the hand you're dealt. But it's not just signing all the good players. I talk to so many people that are just, they're good. They're sports fans, they're NFL fans, but they don't really think about things. And why don't just pay him? Why won't they pay Higgins? If it was that easy, they just pay him.
Oh, yeah.
They got to make it all work within their numbers. And there's a salary cap. And like the NIL in college football right now, the NFL decided back in the early 90s, they were going with salary cap. And it's the best thing they ever did. Major League Baseball needs to do it. It's good for any sport when all teams are on equal spending levels. So, that's what it is. They just don't want to have all that money into a quarterback, and they're probably a little bit worried about his age.
All right, another cool story I heard. Dolphins offensive lineman, Terron Armstead, probably one of the best tackles in the league for the past 10 years. Has had trouble the last couple of years staying healthy, but he's one of the tackles that, if they rank top 5 tackles, I'm sure he's probably on there. Maybe not this year because he was injured, but, overall the last 10 years been really, really good player. You know how valuable those tackles are.
No, the unsung heroes, the ones nobody talks about. They really are.
Just heard, I think it just came out today. My man reduced his contract from $28.6 million this year down to the league veteran minimum of $1.2 million to help out the Dolphins salary cap for this year.
I would like to be first thing, kudos to him. But B, I would like to have his financial advisor if he's doing it, because the guy's got to be sitting good to be able to take that kind of price cut to try to win. And good for him. I love it. And I say it all the time. Why don't some of these guys, especially the big quarterbacks, take a little bit of a price cut to go get maybe from 50, go down to 40 or 43. That leaves you, $7-10 million to get you an extra nice player. But for a guy to go from 25 down to how much, Charlie?
1.2 million.
I hear you, dog.
Big time.
I couldn't do that. I could give up money to, especially if I was a quarterback, to make my team better, which would in return make me better. Go from 40 down to maybe 32, 33. I think that would be a big sacrifice. But to go from 25 down to 1, whew.
I'm sure he's made, if we went back and looked, who knows? He's probably made a couple $100 million in his career.
Probably invested it right, too, because you wouldn't be doing that if you weren't in a great financial position, right?
No, you wouldn't.
What's his name?
Taron Armstead.
Taron Armstead.
Crazy story. Props to the guy, man. He really helped the Dolphins out, so I love that. That's going to help us out because we need help on that offensive line. If we do, I seen a little projection that the Dolphins were going to draft Ashton Genty.
Mm-hmm.
Ruin that kid's career if he comes to the Dolphins right now.
Yeah.
Ruin his career. Our offensive line needs work. This just freed up $20-something million of salary cap. Unbelievably unselfish, dude. You just don't see it much these days. And I thought when I seen that story, that was really, really cool.
Dolphins don't get after the quarterback that well, do they?
What's that?
The Dolphins don't get after the quarterback that well, do they?
What, you talking about on the defensive side?
Yeah, or do they?
They were probably middle of the road this year.
Okay.
Middle of the road, but we were working with a new defensive coordinator and had some injuries, but yeah, he's on the offensive side though. He's an offensive tackle. So
I was thinking about the draft.
Yeah, no, we need help on the offensive line. That's what we need. Kudos to Armstead for doing that. Help my boys out.
No, that's huge. That's
Help
huge.
my
I
boys
mean,
out.
look, them were them contracts that we're going to notice when guys play that cheap. And it's easy to win when you got big-time players getting big-time salaries, willing to take, that kind of pay cut. I tell you what, that immediately, I think, makes the Dolphins a contender. That frees up $24 million. Charlie, that's a lot of money to free up.
It's a lot. So we'll see how that impacts the Dolphins off season. Hopefully they get to doing something.
You can go get another offensive lineman just like him.
Yeah.
I mean, how big is that? I mean, they're
It's
expensive.
huge.
Them offensive tackles are expensive. But to say you have 2 stud offensive linemen, wow. Not many teams can say that.
All right, before we get off of the NFL, I got one more bold statement to make, Anthony.
Yep.
And I've said this a couple of times. I haven't really exactly said what I'm going to say here, but I have hinted towards this throughout the year. And I know I've talked to you about it a couple of times, but I'm going to put it on record right now.
Okay.
Best quarterback in the 2025 NFL draft in, let's say, 3 years.
3 years from now?
3 years from now.
Oh, you're getting in my territory.
Best quarterback from this year's upcoming 2025 NFL draft will be not Cam Ward,
I think it's kind of a weak class.
not Shedeur Sanders. It'll be the guy that I've been talking about all year, the one that has been disrespected all year. Kyle, my man, McCord.
Okay.
Will be the best quarterback in this year's draft. I'm saying it right now. My man got disrespected all year. He is going to show out in the NFL. Super sleeper right there at quarterback this year.
I don't
Kyle
hate it.
McCord.
I don't hate it. Boy can throw the ball. Biggest knock. We've talked about this, but his biggest knock at Ohio State, 5-star recruit coming out of high school. He's always been able to sling the ball. He's always had a pretty throw, good arm. His biggest knock was he didn't like it when, he had to be kind of move or he had to got pressure. But he got to Syracuse and he put up big numbers this year. Now it is a pass-happy offense. It'd be interesting to see. If I was a team, I definitely would look into him. He's got a great arm. Did he get better at that? Or was that – I don't know.
I'm sure the system had something to do with it, but my man can sling.
Oh,
it,
he
dude.
can sling the ball.
He can sling.
He can sling the ball.
I just think I think he's the guy this year. I do. I think he's good.
I don't think there's as far as quarterbacks go, I do like the draft, But as far as quarterbacks go, I do not like the draft.
I'll go one more step. He's not just going to be the best quarterback in this year's draft. He's going to be a top quarterback in 3 to 5 years. Not a top 5 guy, but he's going to be a top 10 quarterback in the NFL in 3 to 5 years.
All right, I got you.
Kyle McCord. Get it down.
I love
Take
it.
a picture. I don't give a fuck.
He is a true pocket passer, so it's I would love that. I like pocket passers.
Let's go. I'm telling you, my man's going to get in the NFL and start slinging it around. That's about all I got on the NFL.
We got the draft coming up.
Now, college football, I did hear a little bit of news today, and I will say, to be fair, I did not hear the whole story, so I don't know exactly the details. But they're talking about reformatting the college football playoff, thinking that they're adding 4 more teams, which would make 16, which would take away the bye games.
Right.
No first-round buys, and I think a lot of teams are kind of pushing back on that. So your big conferences are the ones that are really fighting for this, the SEC, Big Ten.
SEC, they're going to get the last laugh. The SEC was pissed. Whether you agree as a listener or not, I ain't going there with it. But I told you, I forget which podcast I was listening to, but I thought he made a great point. He said, SEC is going to get the last laugh. They got a lot of leverage. Look, in today's world of college sports, the people that got leverage, they use it.
Yeah, so we'll see if this goes through. I'm not sure exactly how it's going to play out because I do think they're getting some pushback from some other teams, probably some teams like Arizona State.
They don't have no leverage.
They got to buy.
Yeah, they don't got no leverage. Like the Big Ten and SEC, because they're kind of working together. So you got the Big Ten. That's all it is anymore is the Big Ten and the SEC. You got a handful of other schools, but they just got way too much leverage. And that's the point the guy was making. They're going to get the last laugh because, yeah, you did something to them this time they didn't agree with, but they think they got the best teams. They're not just going to keep letting the same format roll down. They can almost take off without the NCAA right now. And that's the problem the NCAA is in. That's the problem the NCAA is facing. They've got to the point where they have no leverage. They can't stand up to nobody.
From what I was kind of hearing, and I did catch the ass end of this conversation, so I need to go back and look at it, but they presented it like all of the conferences have to agree. Like it's got to be unanimous.
Yeah, until
it's
not, until they don't. I agree with what you're saying. I'm sure that's within it, but until they don't, until they break off, or until they contract's up, or
and that's what they said. Look, if they don't, because the SEC and the Big Ten are pushing for this, because not only is it going to go to 16, but it's going to be 4 automatic SEC teams, 4 automatic Big Ten teams.
With the power they have right now, especially the SEC. Now the Big Ten's top heavy, but if they continue that, they got some top heavy ones. I think the SEC has a lot bigger argument. Now, whether you think the Big Ten's got the better teams yet or not, they don't nowhere near have the depth I feel like the SEC has. But if I'm the SEC, there's no doubt. If I'm the Big Ten, I go along with it just to use my leverage, and that guarantee me my spots. Charlie, I say it every year. There's teams every year that are good enough to make it, but they lose games because they have schedules. And some of these teams, if they're good enough, they're going to make it because their schedules are not hard. You know, we talk about teams like Ole Miss, or if they had an easier schedule, they would have made the tournament. They might have made a run in the tournament. They might have been one of the teams that could have beat Ohio State. They had talent. Ohio State, Mississippi was, I think they're one of the few teams that could have gave Ohio State a game. They're the only team I've seen whoop Georgia this year. And I had to give Georgia a lot of credit at the end of the year because I thought I think maybe I undervalued them at times, especially watching them. Really, I play Notre Dame, which I was kind of surprised.
All wins and losses are not created equal.
They're not.
I'm so tired of. We heard it with the ACC fans in football. Now we're hearing it, man. I'm hearing it from Louisville fans. I heard it again today, and it is unreal how these people think. Oh, Kentucky's still a 3 seed. They got this many losses, and Louisville's only got 6 losses or 7 losses, and we've won 15 out of 16.
Come walk a mile in our shoes.
And we're trending down, and we're a 7 seed trending down. Lenardi's got us trending down. Got Kentucky trending up when they got this. Dude.
He's not blind.
Wins and losses are not created equal.
Especially not in college football.
In college basketball either.
I'm just saying, like, compared to the NFL, like, at least the schedules are more equal. I know not all are equal, but somewhat equal. college sports schedules are so much, difficulty levels are so much different.
There has to be a way to determine how valuable each team that you play is.
Your eyes. I just,
Well,
I get what you're saying.
They use the quad. College basketball used the quad system. Quad 1, quad 2. And basically what that does is it's your home games against top 30 teams. It's your neutral games against top 50
Do
teams.
they go how they were ranked at that point or like later in the season? Say like, okay, Kentucky plays Tennessee and they're number 5. Do they do it at that point? And then by the end of the season, they're at number 25? Because I feel like teams they can catch teams at the right time.
I think it's rolling. I think it's rolling, but I could be wrong. Maybe it's at the time you play them. I'm not sure.
I don't like at the time you play them because there could be teams that are overrated or
you could
There's no perfect answer. There's no perfect answer.
There's not, but there is. You do have to have a way to determine a value of each team.
No.
Because beating Southern Miss is not the same as beating Ole Miss.
And if you're in a weak conference, somebody's got to get the wins. Say you're in a weak conference, or say you're playing in a conference that's absolutely loaded from top to bottom. These teams play every week. There's going to be losses. There's going to be lots of losses. So, I mean, it's just the way it is.
Anthony, I could almost argue, and I know this might sound stupid to some people, but I could almost argue that if you look back at Louisville's last 4 or 5 wins, they've beat teams that are under 500.
Yeah.
Okay. I could almost argue that it's better to go and lose a 3-point game on the road to a top 10 or top 15 team than it is to beat a team that's 12-17.
I know it is, Charlie. I know it. There's no doubt.
Team.
There's no doubt.
So,
there's no doubt.
So
we
you
talk
could
about
argue that a loss could be better than a win.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We talk about it, with our travel baseball team all the time, and we just joke around, talking amongst coaches and stuff. But parents, they all want to win. Sometimes, not all of our parents, but sometimes they would rather go play a weak tournament and win and feel good about themselves than go play very high-level teams, go 0-3, but have a chance to win all 3 of those games and be competitive in all of them. Well, we play better basketball in the tournament where we win 0-3. Anybody that has any eye for sports can tell you that. But some people got to have those wins to feed their ego, I guess. Trophy hunters, I don't know.
It's crazy to me how people can really look at it like that, where it's just like, well, we only have 7 losses. Y'all got 9. So what? So that means it's stupid to think like that.
Charlie, they know. They might be trying to trick themselves and talk themselves into it, but people that know, know.
Let me tell you what Joe Lunardi knows about ranking Kentucky and Louisville. He knows that Kentucky has 8 wins against quad 1 teams, while Louisville has 4. Louisville has 2 losses against quad 2 teams. We have 9 losses. Only one of our losses are not against quad 1 teams.
No doubt.
So we have 8 wins against quad 1 teams. We have also, every game we've lost except 1 has been to quad 1 teams. We have 6 wins against top 15 teams, and we've beat 4 top 5 teams.
No doubt. It's
Louisville's 1-2 against top 15 teams. They got 4 quad 1 wins. And they're 0-3 or 0-4 against the SEC. You are trending down, and we are go look at their game last 6 games that they beat. They beat nobody.
Look, say Louisville is good, which
I'm not even saying they're not good.
Okay, but just say they are.
Still, I do think they're a decent team.
But what you're looking at on paper when you're comparing and analyzing, you can't give them Lunardi's right till they go out and prove it against some top-level teams. That's going to be the narrative, and it should be until you can prove on a 2 or 3 game basis, where we see them play 2 or 3 tough games within 5 or 6 games. If we see it then it's different. You're not going to see it in the ACC. Now, that don't mean that they're not good, but what I'm seeing, the scores I'm seeing, comparing, I'm selling.
I actually do think Louisville has a decent team, but they have not beat anybody lately. They really haven't beat anybody at all. I think their best win is Clemson.
The ACC's bad. They were bad in football, too.
I think their best win all year is Clemson.
The ACC's struggling.
It is.
ACC
It is struggling
struggled
real
in
bad.
football bad, too.
So and I've heard some Louisville fans say, "Oh, I can't wait to see how this SEC strength of schedule works out in March." Blah blah blah. I can't wait to see how the Clemson. I think Clemson's got a good team too. But let's see what happens when Clemson and Louisville get into a tournament and have to play some decent teams for the first time in the whole freaking season.
I think Clemson's a really good home team, and I think they, like Louisville, have probably benefited from the ACC. I don't think they're bad. You're going to look like a Clydesdale in that conference.
You need to get. If I was a Louisville fan, I'd be wanting my team to be tested because they haven't been tested, but we're about to go into March, and I would argue to say that their schedule is going to be much more of a deterrent to their run as ours is. I mean, we had a brutal schedule all year. That can't do anything but help you going into March, right?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not saying it definitely does, but it's going to prepare you.
Sure.
We've played better teams. We should be prepared in March to see whoever it is we see.
yeah, I agree.
If you've only seen 2 or 3 top 15 teams all year.
I agree. In football,
And then in that second round, you get matched up with, say, like a 3 or a 4 seed in the second round.
especially
Good luck.
especially in basketball, because you don't get banged up as much as you do football. I mean, I know you get banged up, but in football, you might argue, man, they don't need to get banged up that much. An SEC schedule in football really can bang a team up, and they need a break. But in basketball, you don't get banged up like that. An injury's an injury, but a lot of times they ain't just from physical contact. So
Looks like Butler's out there. There he is right there. That's Butler, isn't it?
yeah, it is.
So he's playing.
We don't have no other guard moving like that. I can tell you that.
I haven't seen Robinson. Kentucky up 5 with 15 minutes left on the road in Norman.
Hard to get them road wins.
I think I heard this is the first time we've ever played in Oklahoma, ever, which is kind of crazy. We've been a basketball team for like 100 years, and we've never been to Oklahoma. Elsewhere in college basketball, Auburn, Duke continue to roll.
Yeah,
I think they're the 2 clear favorites.
they are. When you look at the betting odds, they're the 2 clear favorites.
But I'll say this. I think there's a third team in there. I like Houston. I know
I've bet them a lot. I've bet them a lot. They're up and down. I
know they got you a couple weeks ago,
But
I'm telling you, they got a really good team.
They've
dude.
got some wins for me too.
Houston's got a good team. I watched them a couple games. They look good, dude.
I'll tell you a team I like,
They
and
look good.
and you know I always tell you about them, but then I feel like I'm a bandwagon because they just got in the top 25. But I always tell you and Barry about them. But they got in the top 25, so I go ahead and celebrate them a little bit. But I've always kind of been an undercover fan of them, just because I feel like they always win for me. St. Mary's.
Hey,
Watch out for St. Mary's.
hey, they got a good team this year.
They've had good teams in the past.
I know they have, but they got a really good team this year.
Yeah,
They're
do.
going to win that conference.
Yeah.
And St. Mary's does have a good team. Watch out for them. I bet them a couple times
Do
this year,
not
too.
bet against St. Mary's when St. Mary's at home. They play in a very small gym like Duke does, maybe
Yeah,
even
they're
smaller.
like BYU in football.
Yeah, do not bet
Don't
against
bet
them.
against them at home.
No, that's a mistake.
Yep. So Auburn, Duke continue to roll. Florida took a loss, but they're still ranked 3rd. And then, the SEC is still looking good, man. Houston's right there at 4th. I like Houston. They're 23-4, real gritty team, and they can score a little bit too. And Kelvin Sampson, dude, he's a really good coach.
Dude's always been able to coach.
I
Even when
wouldn't
everybody
mind
was
my
making
kid
fun
playing
of
for him.
even when everybody's making fun of him for making the phone calls, all he was trying to do was recruit. Come on,
yeah.
dude.
No, that wasn't shit, dude. All that shit's probably legal now.
Yeah.
Everything he was doing is probably legal now. Just same as Bruce Pearl. All that shit Bruce Pearl got in trouble for.
It still don't make it
it's
right.
probably all
It still
legal.
don't make it right, though. I've heard that argument, but it still don't. I mean, that was the rule.
It's petty
But I
shit,
know,
though.
but that was the rules when it was the
What
rules,
was Kelvin
though.
Sampson doing?
What's
he
that?
just made an illegal phone call or
Yeah,
something?
when he wasn't supposed to. Like, he was making phone calls when they told him he couldn't be making those phone calls.
And Bruce Pearl had a damn had a cookout and had a kid at a cookout or
He
something.
Bruce Pearl. Have you ever heard
that's
the
what he
story?
got in trouble
He
for.
liked the young ladies. He liked the young ones.
None of that's came out.
You never heard the Bruce Pearl story?
No, he ain't had no scandals, has he?
They got covered up. They got swept underneath the rug.
Yeah, I ain't never
Back
heard
in the
no
day.
scandals on him. When? At Tennessee?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he had a lot of young women out on boats.
I don't doubt it.
He's half his age.
Young, like 21?
Bill Belichick, young.
Yeah,
you know.
hey, as long as they 21, right?
It's,
Or I guess 18, right?
Yeah,
He's got to be 18.
I guess. You're a leader of the university. Maybe you should stay above like 27, 30, maybe. I don't know. It's
Dude, Bill Belichick's girl is like 24 years old, I think.
I seen a video of her coming to the airport. She had like a little tank top on her, like jacket down.
They said she wore some crazy shit on Super Bowl weekend, dude.
Like,
They said she was wearing some wild shit. Bill's just having fun, dude. He's in a midlife crisis. My man's having a blast.
he ain't no dummy. He knows why she's with him. He's like, it's my money.
I've been meaning to ask you this too.
Oh.
Indiana.
Yeah.
Who's going to be the next head coach at Indiana?
I don't know. It's a good question. I really don't. I don't have no guesses.
Patino.
Yeah.
He's campaigning for Chris Beard. He already came out. You know, he's came out about Kentucky a couple times the last whatever.
Yeah, I heard that.
This is what Kentucky should do. This is what Kentucky fans should do.
I heard it.
He came out the other day and said that he said Chris Beard would be the man.
Yep.
Of course, he had his little scandals. That's why he wasn't on Mitch's list. Actually, I think he was on Mitch's list, but I think some other people above Mitch shot that down. But I don't know, man. Indiana.
They got NIL money.
Man, Indiana should be a good program, man. They have went to the dumpster.
Yeah, you know, it used to be all they had to do was shut down their high school borders. Their high school talent's so good in Indiana high school basketball, but now they act like they got, you know, a good NIL budget. So as a coach, that's what you want. It's a big NIL budget. So
I feel like Rick's playing it down. I think Rick would be perfect for that job.
Dude, he's already took the Louisville job. We don't got to go to IU. I know we don't have as much hate for IU no more. But
he's going to do it, dude. I got a feeling. He said that none of his people has been Indiana hasn't reached out to any of his people and all that. Man, I'm almost calling bullshit. You can't believe anything Rick Pitino says. He says, oh, I got the guy. It's Chris Beard. Man, I think Pitino's the guy.
You know, listen, I always – and I don't take up for Pitino much, but you know me. As a coach, you can't say that. Oh, I want that job. Like, you just can't say it for a career. You can't, dude. You can't.
But I do think I think it's going to be Pitino, man. I know that's going out on the limb a little bit. But watch out. Pitino to Indiana. I'm calling that. That's going to be my prediction. All right, what we got here, Anthony? What's this game looking like?
We are up by a little. It's a tough game. Tough game. We're not up by much. I think they just hit a shot. I think we're up by maybe a basket. So,
all right. Do you have any big games written down this
Yeah,
weekend?
I did.
You want to just try to make a couple picks
Okay, so
real
we
quick?
got 4 games. 4 games that are what we're going to call major games.
This weekend?
Yep, major games.
All right.
So we haven't done this in our podcast, but we're going to take the biggest games coming up Saturday. You know, the point spreads don't get made until the night before.
Did you look at tomorrow's games?
No, I did not.
All right, you're
I
good.
did not.
You're good.
So
on
Saturday, we have Alabama will face at Tennessee.
Alabama at Tennessee.
I'm going to say Tennessee. This is my guess. I'm going to say that game comes out Tennessee -1, and I'm going to take Alabama.
Alabama at Tennessee?
Yep, I'm going to say Tennessee -1. I'm going to take Alabama.
I'm going to say Alabama -2.5.
Okay.
And I'm taking Alabama.
Okay. We both like Alabama. I'll say Tennessee's -1, and I will take Alabama. So next game, we have Texas A&M just coming off a loss. They fought all the way back and almost won that game tonight. They made a valiant comeback there, but fell just short. They will go into Gainesville. They will face Florida.
Who is it?
Florida.
Who's playing Florida?
Texas A&M. I'm going to say Florida is -6 in that game. I'm going to take A&M plus the points.
You're saying Florida -6?
Probably 6 or 7. I say Florida -7. I'm going to take A&M in the points. My point spread don't matter, but I'm just trying to guess.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, I get it. Because, I mean, these point spreads don't come out until like 24 hours before the game. So trying to pick the spread is just a guessing game. So A&M at Florida. I know you said you liked A&M a little earlier in the year. I kind of was on board with you on that. But, man, they kind of struggle to score sometimes. A&M at Florida. I'm going to say Florida's going to be Florida -2.5.
Wow. So and I'm not saying you're wrong, but you're saying on a neutral court, you think A&M would be favored over them?
I think it'd be close to a pick 'em.
Okay.
I think it would be close to a pick 'em.
Okay.
And I'm going to take Florida to win. I'm going to take Florida to win. Florida's rolling right now, man.
Yeah, they're good. Number 3 in the country. Number 3 in the country.
Florida's rolling, and they had one of their guys go down with an ankle or something, and they've continued to roll.
Got a tie ball game. 12 minutes to go.
Oh, my goodness.
The third game, you will have the number 1 ranked Auburn Tigers, and they will face the Kentucky Wildcats. Right now, we're 17th. Hopefully, we stay 17th or move up.
That's at home, right?
We are at home,
Kentucky,
yes.
yeah.
I'm going to say Auburn is going to be Auburn minus 5, and I'm going to take it. I'm going to take Kentucky.
To win?
Yep.
I'm going to go. Yeah, Auburn's definitely going to be favored here. What was Alabama favored by?
12. But that was at Alabama.
Yeah, I'm going to say Auburn minus probably
6 or
5,
7.
5 or 6.
Five,
What'd
yeah,
you say? 5?
5.
You said 5?
Yeah, I'm starting to think 6 or 7.
Yeah, I'm going to say 6.
Yeah,
you got
in there.
6?
I
You
think
switch
we're
it?
look now. I think we're both at the same spot with it. I think our minds, just from listening to you kind of contemplate there for a second, I think our minds are about the same spot about where it is. We think anywhere on the low end from 5 to high end to what, 7? You think, Charlie? You kind of think?
Yeah, I don't see it being much more than at home at Kentucky. 7 would be a lot in Lexington. I don't see that. I
think some of it
4 to 6, I would say, has got to be somewhere.
and some
around
of it might happen. What happens here if we get a win with our guard back?
Auburn
maybe
ended up winning earlier, right?
Yep, they did.
Auburn won
enrolled. Auburn might end up being 7 points in that game. I know that's a lot.
They beat Ole Miss.
Yeah,
they beat
but
Ole Miss.
yeah.
Mississippi State lost yesterday. We need this win. We might be able to scoot up maybe to the 7 or maybe even the 6 in the SEC. I'm not positive about that, but depending on tiebreakers, we needed both of the Mississippi teams to lose. So, you said you got UK to win. I'm taking UK to win that game too.
Yeah,
I'm taking UK to win.
Definitely cover its spread. Last game, it's not a monster game, but it is a top 25 game. It's a good game, Mo. Arizona will travel to Ames, Iowa, and face Iowa State. I'm going to say Iowa. I do not think Iowa State's valued that much by Vegas for whatever reason compared to where they're ranked. They're ranked number 9.
This Arizona at Iowa State?
Yep. I'm going to say this is going to be a surprising spread for people with Iowa State being home and being 13 spots ahead of them. But I'm going to say Iowa State comes out a 4-point favorite. But I think most of the time with a 13-spot higher team at home, I think it'd be closer to 8 to 10. But I'm going to say Iowa State's just 4 points. And I am actually going to take Arizona.
Yeah, so Iowa State, what are they ranked?
9.
Like 8, yeah.
They're ranked 9.
I think they lost yesterday, though, Anthony.
Yep. Okay. I know they were.
They did. They got beat yesterday by Oklahoma State.
Okay.
So they'll probably be dropping a little bit. Arizona, yeah, I'm going to go Iowa State. You had -4.
Which I think that's I think it's a surprising. Most people think it'd be a little higher than that, but I think that's what it's going to be. I've watched Vegas kind of value Iowa State, and I feel like they kind of undervalue Iowa State compared to where their ranking is.
Coming back home off of a loss to a 14-14 Oklahoma State team. Yeah, I think you're probably pretty close on the spread there. Iowa State, I hate to copy you, man, but
It ain't no matter what that means. We're on the same page.
Yeah,
it means we're on the same page.
Yeah,
There ain't no matter
I'm
with
trying
that.
to find a way to maybe go to.
If that's what we feel, we're just trying to pick the game. We're just trying to predict the spread.
I will take Iowa State to win the game on a bounce
3 by
back.
Butler.
Who'd you pick to win?
I'm gonna take Arizona.
You got Arizona to on the upset.
Yep, I do, especially covering the spread. 4's a lotto.
I think the spread. I'm gonna stick with you on the spread. For some reason, I'm trying to come off of that 4, but I think that 4 is pretty close to a good number. But I'm gonna take Iowa State on the bounce back. They're coming back home after a road loss, kind of a bad loss to Oklahoma State. So I'm gonna go Iowa State with the bounce back win.
Sounds good. We gotta pick some games. That's fun.
All right, I think that's about it, Anthony. You got anything else?
That's it. It's been a long day for me. I would like to say congratulations to the girls' manual bowling team. They got second in state today, Charlie. They came up 1 short.
That's awesome.
My daughter is on the team.
It sucks that they came up a little short, but look, second in the state. I don't care what you're doing. second in the state. That's good stuff.
No, it was.
That's really good stuff.
None of the girls on the team, including my daughter, didn't start bowling until high school. The coach, I think it's a pretty smart move. He came into the softball team. He said he always recruits his bowlers from the from the girls. A lot of similar skills, competitive girls, athletic girls.
Is it pitchers?
Yeah, a lot of
Pretty
girls
much,
are
pitchers.
pitchers,
Yeah,
and
makes sense.
So my daughter got better every year. She was the #1 bowler in the region this year, which we play in a tough region. We play in a city region. She almost had a 200 average. It's over 30 games. Super proud of her. And she's never even took a professional lesson or nothing. Now, her coach has been pretty awesome, but she's never been with like one-on-one with the professional. I know it sounds crazy, but I never thought this would be a thing. But we're even thinking about considering maybe trying to look into pro bowling for her. So,
might as well, dude.
I mean,
if she's never really
really
tried, I mean, I'm sure. Look, Riley's got.
She practices, but she's never trained with. She's never trained with nobody that really.
And if she's already averaging close to, what'd you say, 200?
Right at 200, like
that's
198.
Pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Pros, I mean,
over a 30-game stretch.
I think even the professionals average what, 230, 240.
So I've already looked into it for girl pro bowlers. Anywhere from 190 to 230. All you got to do to be a girl pro bowler is get in a U.S. something league and hold a 190 average for over a year. She's at a 198 all year this year. And she hasn't even put a lot. I mean, she's put effort into it, but no real training into it. So, I mean, they don't make big money, but they make a couple $100,000 a year.
What's she think about that idea?
Son, she's trying to figure out what she wants to do. She's trying. I mean, like I think she's excited about it. Yeah,
keep bowling.
If you can make a living, they don't make big money, but they make a couple $100,000 a year bowling.
Yeah, try it, Riley. Yeah. Try it. I would. Yeah, that's good stuff. I want to bowl against her.
Well, I tell you what,
we need to go bowling.
I will say this though: there was a girl from. I got to give her a shout out. They're both going to very high level bowling schools. My daughter actually has a full ride to a couple bowling schools. So here in Kentucky, so that's fun, but. A couple of these girls, there was 2 of them from Graves County and Boyle County, and they had full rides to like the big bowling schools.
What are the big bowling schools?
One of them's weird. One of them was SEC. I think one of them was Arkansas, but one of them's like Savannah Technology, but it's become like somehow like a big bowling school.
Was that in Georgia?
Yeah, I was being explained it, but I was talking to their parents. They're year-round bowlers. They've been in bowling their whole life. They were good.
What are they averaging?
I don't know. But, like, I'll be honest with you, my daughter competed against them, and I didn't feel like it was just a mismatch. And considering my daughter don't bowl year-round, that she has a lot of other stuff going on, that she's never really had no real training, she's got a big ceiling. And these girls are high-level players herself. I mean, these girls, if they want to pro bowl, they'll pro bowl. I would argue to say they could pro bowl right now. I mean, with Riley's average, I mean, she could pro bowl right now from everything I've read. It ain't like she just averaged right at a 190. She was right at a 200. So, I mean, I don't know. We're going to look into it.
Oklahoma's going on a little run here, Anthony.
Yeah, we got to put out the fire.
Down 3 with about 10 minutes left.
Dude, our defense got to get better.
All right, birthday shout out to my brother, Robbie, and my nephew, Christian. Both of them birthdays today. I'm sure neither one of them listened, but somebody that knows them might be listening. So happy birthday to both you guys. Love both of y'all. And Blitz the Bookie, man. I guess we're out of here. Same time, same place next week. We'll be back, and we'll be 1 week closer to March. Actually, next week it might be March. Mm-hmm. What's next Wednesday?
Yep.
What's today? The 26th?
We're getting close.
Yeah, next week it'll be March.
Saturday's the 1st.
Yep. Next week we'll be
3 Derby preps.
Next show. Oh, guys, sorry about that. We wanted to get into the 3 Derby preps. What we got? The Gotham, the Fountain of Youth, and what's the third one?
Fountain of Youth, Gotham, San Felipe.
Yeah. That's it. San Felipe.
Yeah.
I wanted to look into them. Wanted to do a little 15 or 20 minutes on those, maybe make some picks. Look, maybe we'll try to, and I guess those are all Saturdays.
Yep.
Maybe we'll try to do something. Keep an eye out. Maybe we put out a 15-minute thing on the preps. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. Either way it goes, we'll catch you back here next Wednesday, same time, same place.
Guys, remember, we ain't getting no younger, so get busy living.
You know it. Thanks for listening, guys. Appreciate y'all. Blitz the Bookie.
Charlie got the mic, he's dropping facts all day. Anthony's Anthony's like, nah, I got the better parlay. Argue about the spread, it's a fierce debate, but when it comes to Wildcats, they align their fate. Blitz the bookies where the knowledge reigns. Charlie and Anthony bring the heat like flames. Talking parlays, breaking down the games. Kentucky Wildcats, they beat the same drums. Late nights, hustle deals on the line. Charlie Scassy's gonna make you shine. Anthony's heart where the numbers combine. Put your cash down, ride the incline. Blitz the bookies where the knowledge reigns. Charlie and Anthony bring the heat like flames. Talking parlays, breaking down the games. Kentucky Wildcats, they beat the same drums. From the tip off to the final play, they grind. Mike's on fire, bets on their minds. Arguing odds till the last rewind. Blue and white, it's a bond you'll find. The bookies where the knowledge reigns. Charlie and Anthony bring the heat like flames. Talking parlays, breaking down the games. Kentucky Wildcats, they beat the same drums. Final play, they grind. Mike's on fire, bets on their minds. Arguing odds till the last rewind. Blue and white, it's a bond you'll find. Bond you'll find. Blitz the bookies where the knowledge reigns. Charlie and Anthony bring the heat like flames. Talking parlays, breaking down the games. Kentucky Wildcats, they beat the same drum.